I'm Dick DeYoung from 2cameraguys.com. Today I'm hands-on with the Nikon V1, which with the J1 represents Nikon's first mirrorless cameras with interchangeable lenses. Here's the V1 body alongside the Sony NEX-5N, which is one of the smallest mirrorless cameras on the market. The Nikon is only a few millimeters larger and about an ounce heavier. Then again, the V1 has a built-in electronic viewfinder. The Sony does not. Nikon surprised many when they announced that the V1 would employ a 10-megapixel CX-sized image sensor, which is the smallest in the mirrorless field. As a general rule, the bigger the sensor, the better. The CX sensor is about half the size of the type found in the Micro Four Thirds cameras like those from Panasonic and Olympus. The APS-C sensor in the Sony NEX models is 3 times larger. Now I've heard the chatter that there's no way that this sensor-challenged Nikon could match the image quality of its more well-endowed mirrorless brethren. After spending a couple of weeks with the Nikon V1, I can attest that its image quality compares very well with the larger censored competition. Does it match the output of the Sony NEX-5N? No, not on close inspection, but I do think it is neck and neck with many of the Micro Four Thirds cameras. Where the V1 does excel is autofocusing, very quickly and accurately. With that said, let's take a look at the V1. This Series 1 is a new system, with lenses made specifically for the cameras. Nikon introduced 4 lenses. With the CX sensor V1, the lenses have a 2.7 conversion factor, which makes the 10mm pancake lens the equivalent of a traditional 27mm wide-angle lens. For video work, the 10 to 100mm lens features a power zoom that is quiet and smooth. With the other 2 zoom lenses, you twist the barrel by hand to zoom. Also, to make the camera more compact for traveling, the zoom lenses retract by pushing this button and twisting the lens barrel. When you're ready to shoot, push and twist and the camera automatically powers up. If you prefer to focus manually, you can still do it with the V1, but the lenses do not have a focus ring. When in manual focus mode, you adjust focus by rotating the multi-selector dial. Hopefully, Nikon will fill in this lineup with faster prime lenses that will facilitate shooting in low light. Though in late December, Nikon released the FT1 mount adapter, which can accept many legacy Nikon F mount lenses. But you can see that with this adapter, a large lens dwarfs the V1 body, and you would lose the camera's portability advantage. I appreciate the V1's no-nonsense industrial design. The camera is small, but is comfortable in my biggish hands. Foremost, I like that Nikon included a first-rate dedicated electronic viewfinder, which I find especially useful since the 3-inch LCD screen does not swivel or rotate. The camera senses when your eye is near the viewfinder and turns it on, and the screen off. Of course, moving your hand in front of the sensor can have the same effect. I wish the V1 had a built-in flash unit, which would have made it more capable in low-light situations. The speed light, which you can buy separately, is one of the accessories that attaches to the V1's hot shoe. On top of the V1 are the on-off button, the shutter release, and the movie button. All the other controls are in the back, like dedicated buttons for display, playback, and menu. You can scroll through the menu with its thumb wheel. For the most part, Nikon has not cluttered the menu with unnecessary features, which makes the V1 faster and easier to use. Though I would prefer if the designers had left the program, shutter, aperture, and manual choices on the mode wheel. Instead, they are buried in the on-screen menu. What they did decide to put on the mode wheel were the options for selecting the movie and still image modes, which I can understand. Even the new Smart Photo Selector has its appeal. When you hold down the shutter release, the V1 produces a sequence of 5 still images that you can pick from, which is great for capturing the perfect portrait of a squirming family. But the designers veered into what were they thinking territory with the motion snapshot mode, in which the camera records about a second of movie footage and a still image. Then the movie plays back in slow motion, followed by the still image. If that's not odd enough, you can choose from 4 mini background music tracks. The other major misstep was in the design of this control toggle switch, which serves multiple functions. For example, when you're playing back images, press it up to zoom in and down to zoom out. In shutter priority mode, you push it up for faster shutter speeds and down for slower. But this switch is exactly where I normally put my thumb, and much too often I would find that I had accidentally pumped the speed to 1/2000th of a second from my normal 1/125th of a second. I would love if this switch was replaced with a rotating thumb wheel. To catch quick moving action, you can put the V1 into continuous shooting mode and snap off multiple shots as fast as your SD card can record them. Or you can change to video mode and shoot in either 720p or 1080 HD resolution. I found the video quality to be very good. You can see samples at the end of this hands-on. One final note. The V1 offers the option of shooting with either its mechanical or electronic shutter. One of the advantages of switching to electronic is that the camera does not make that telltale shutter noise when you take a photo. The V1 would be a great courtroom camera. To make it even less conspicuous, you can turn off the LCD display and just use the viewfinder. Let's recap the pros and cons. Though some may dismiss the Nikon V1 out of hand because of its small sensor size, I found that its image quality and fast autofocusing makes the V1 a serious contender in the mirrorless camera competition. The V1's slimmed-down menu makes it easy to navigate and operate. I like the industrial design, and am overjoyed with the built-in viewfinder, though the camera also would be better served with a built-in flash. The 4 lenses are a good start, but more Series 1 fast prime lenses are needed to make the V1 nimbler when shooting in low light. Of course, if you fill out your Series 1 system with multiple lenses and accessories, the price tag goes up. You can find more information on the Nikon V1 on our 2 Camera Guys site, including a feature where you can examine full-resolution test photos at different ISOs. Finally, the V1's high-definition video quality is very good. Up next is a short sample of video shot with the Nikon V1.
Viendo Banaranguana me quedo hasta las 6 de la mañana.